I will never spend my Bitcoin right now until it raises to where I think it needs to be. Remember that number, 100 million. I firmly bet my life that not in my lifetime, but maybe in my children's lifetime, that one Bitcoin today that's worth 40,000 is going to be worth about $100 million. So what do? I buy and stack for my kids. You can stack for your future. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bitcoin Business Basics. I'm smiling because every time I see these new commercials, I just think they're phenomenal. This team is incredible, and all that they do is incredible. And so I'm just excited about that. But hello, everybody, and welcome to, again, Bitcoin Business Basics. We have an incredible show for you today. I'm really, really excited because when I got into this Bitcoin space and this crypto space, I went looking for everything Bitcoin. Anything I could find Bitcoin, I bought it. It's probably here in the brick and mortar. But I went to get these Bitcoin energy drinks. And I bought a couple cases and we had some events and people drank up the Bitcoin energy drinks. And we were all excited about those drinks. And I went back to order some more and they were no longer there. They had sold out. And so I am just as excited today because this gentleman that you all see here, his name is Mayo. He actually has a Bitcoin wine. And I'm super excited because I cannot wait to get my hands on some bottles of Bitcoin wine. Now, I'm not going to drink these. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to keep them for souvenirs all around. No, I'm going to taste one at least, but I'm going to keep my souvenirs so that we can show them. And so I'm really, really excited about Bitcoin wines. And so we're going to have a little bit of a talk today. But before we get going with Mayo, I want to make sure that everybody goes to the dfrtour.com and registers. You know what? There's not a registration link, but there's actually a link if you want to become a city ally for the Digital Financial Revolution Tour. We will be coming to 41 cities around the country to educate on cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. And we will also be just really having a good time, and you'll get a chance to meet other like-minded people that are out ready to help educate you as well. Then I also like to ask everyone to do me a favor today and to download the KBLA app. So there is a station that I'm just starting on, but the app is called KBLA Talk 1580. And if you go on your Apple Store or in your Google Play Store, you can download KBLA. Download that app for me, please. I want to show the station what kind of support we get in our cryptocurrency community. And every day I am teaching a show called Ahead of the Crypto Curve. So please go there. The other thing I would like to share with you all is to go to the virtualundergroundrailroad.io. Again, that's virtualundergroundrailroad.io. We are starting to really get our community going, and I would love for you all to be a part of it, and I just wanted to share that with you today. So without further ado, we will begin talking and getting some information from Mr. Mayo. So Mayo, welcome to Bitcoin Business Basics. How are you today?
I'm alive and well, no complaints. Thank you for having me. Pretty excited to be here.
Absolutely, absolutely. And thank you for coming. We appreciate you today. So Mayo, tell us a little bit about who you are, where you grew up. Tell us who you are.
Yeah, so my name is Mayo Akindele, or Mayo if you're outside the US. So I was originally born in Nigeria and then moved here when I was around 6 to Texas. Since then I played football, and then through that I went to university in San Antonio at Trinity University. During my time there, I studied abroad in Spain for about a year, and that was actually like my first introduction to wine. And I was lucky enough that it was like good wine because we had like programs through our school actually for us to do like wine tastings. And up until then, I never even like looked at wine.
Okay.
And especially because I was underage, I never like was one of those kids. I never had a fake ID or anything, so I just was like, I'll wait till I'm 21. But obviously, in Spain, drinking age is 18, so I was able to go to wine tastings while I was out there. So that was like kind of like my first introduction. I was like, oh no, this is like a really great experience, right? Especially if you pair it with the right foods, you can actually like really enjoy it. And then, after I studied international business and finance, and during my time there, I started taking Spanish, right? Because being in Texas, we have a high, Hispanic population here. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought about all the languages that, at our school, they kind of give you a minimum that everybody has to study up to like intermediate two of a certain language, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
chose Spanish because I was like, oh, being in
Smart.
Texas, it's a language
Smart.
I'll be able to utilize, whether it's with business or just communicating with the people around me. And so even while I was in school, for one of my spring breaks, we actually took a cruise and we ended up in Mexico. And so even then I was like, okay, yeah, this is definitely the language I should be picking up. And through there, after graduation, I kept traveling a lot, and Mexico was one of my like favorite destinations. And through there, just continuing to like learn more about the people, the culture, and just kind of immersing myself in the language to where like now I'm like conversational in Spanish. So through there is kind of how I was introduced to I would say like the tequila industry. Being exposed to tequilas that compared to college where you just kind of take the shot, hold your breath, and wish for the best. I kind of started experiencing tequilas where it's like, whoa, this is like amazing. We don't need ice, we don't need a mixer, we don't need anything. And through even though I was working in corporate, in the back of my head since I was a kid, I knew I was going to be an entrepreneur, right? And corporate was kind of for me to kind of learn things of how to kind of properly structure the business, how to run it globally, because I was working for management consulting firms that were global management consulting firms.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of through that pathway, a lot of the things I learned in those corporate jobs, I was able to apply in my current entrepreneurial endeavors. So it's been like extremely helpful being able to pick up those skills and utilize them now for myself. Because some of the things I was doing, I would see that, whether it was data migration or mergers acquisitions or, uh, just a bunch of different things. I was like, man, if we're working with like tens of million, $100 million, like if I'm doing this for a company, why can't I do this for myself?
Do this for
Right.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that kind of like pushed me out into like, okay, maybe you should, just go out on a limb, because especially because I'm, I would say I'm a little bit younger. So I have, this is the time where you can fall flat on your face and you'll be okay. Right. And, since I was a kid, I kind of had a little bit different mindset, because when I would, drive around and see people that had really nice cars or had really nice houses or were really successful, everybody was in, their 50s or 60s. And I think with social media, everybody kind of expects themselves to already be successful and rich in their 20s. And it's just not realistic, right? So I realized I had to build something for the long term. And this was something that I saw that, like, it can be something where it's, whether it's cash flow or something that's, generational, that, can kind of build a legacy for. So that's kind of how I moved into this space that I'm in now.
All right. Well, I want to say big kudos to you for all that you have done and seen, and just really having the foresight, because you don't find many young people that are thinking ahead like I hear that you're thinking, and so I think it's incredible. So are you I just learned this term because my husband and I watched something, a sommelier. I watched this whole
No,
thing.
so like I'm never gonna be one of those people that like acts like now I'm just like this complete expert, right? I just like good wines, and I realized there's this kind of gap in the wine and spirit space where there's no like not, let me not say no, but there isn't a lot of overlap with wine and spirits and technology, right?
Hmm.
And a lot of the technology that's available that I see is like can have high utility. There's kind of, there's a gap in between who kind of runs these businesses and who's in control versus like what they realize is actually possible, right? So some of the things that I'm extremely comfortable with in terms of the technology I use every day, some other companies would have to go pay millions of dollars for like a market survey to see if it's something
Hmm.
that's viable. When I'm like, of course it's viable. It's something that everybody has their phone, they have a camera, or there's an NFC reader, right? And for me,
Right.
it just like clicked immediately, right? And I realized too, being a millennial, that a lot of these brands, a lot of these companies are making products targeted at us, right? So for me,
Hmm.
it's not me having to do a market survey or pay a company to kind of find information. I kind of just think about what I would want, or I can like hit up my friend, group chat and say, hey, what do you guys think about this? And get feedback from them, because those are the people that are going to be buying the product anyway,
Right. Right.
right? So I kind
Absolutely.
of had like a little bit of a leg up there. But no,
Okay.
I'm not a sommelier. I just like good alcohol, good wine, good spirits, and like good experiences. I realized that everything I went to as an adult, whether even when I turned 21 and I was a senior in college, everything we went to for as an adult, whether it's sports, music, art, entertainment, it has alcohol at it. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, well, if I utilize this as my foundational business, then I can
Right.
kind of like embed myself in a bunch of different industries. And, that's why I kind of utilize this as my first entrepreneur endeavor, because then I can kind of expand into whatever space I want to afterwards.
Yes, yes, yes. And I just love your entrepreneurial spirit. There's some other things that we're going to talk about a little bit later down the line that you're doing. Um, have you thought about putting your seed to sell on blockchain for your
The,
wines?
so the thing that's kind of interesting about that is that we're gonna have like a way for you to kind of like track provenance and authenticity through like the label
Hmm.
for these, because these are luxury wines, but these aren't going to be like our high end wines. So we're gonna have a way for people to actually see, okay, this is an authentic bottle coming from this brand, right? Because the whole reason why I even implemented this technology and I wanted to utilize it was, if you remember back in 2019, all the Americans that were dying abroad, where
Hmm.
people were like, man, are they getting kidnapped, or what's going on? Is it drugs? And it turns out it was, tainted alcohol. And I think for Americans, we're kind of like spoiled in a way where I don't think you've ever gone to a liquor store and bought, a bottle and thought to yourself, is this real? Is like the liquor in here fake? No, because our regulations are so stringent that like the chances of that happening is kind of low, other than like when you hear about stories of like bars and restaurants refilling bottles, right? That's a whole different story.
And
Right?
I haven't heard many of those stories. So,
Yeah, so for me, I knew that we were going to have a product that wasn't just going to be US based, right? Especially with the tequila, it's a very amazing package, right? And this is something that I see in every duty free shop, and I see it, international. And so I wanted somebody to have that same confidence of going into a liquor store here in the US and in the liquor store in Africa or in Asia, where some countries where like some of the alcohol in circulation up to like 40 to 60%, even in some countries, is counterfeit, right? Unregulated alcohol. And this
really?
kills tens of thousands of people a year all around the world. It's actually insane. So
Wow.
for me, I kind of wanted to utilize the unique packaging and tying that to technology to kind of give people that peace of mind and saying, okay, now I can kind of verify this product utilizing this method to say, okay, this is a real bottle that came from this distillery or from this vineyard. And I kind of have confidence digesting this, even though I'm in a country or I'm in a place where it might have kind of sketchy practices, if
Right,
that makes
right,
sense.
right, right. Wow. Okay. And I'm hearing you, and I'm just from the layman side, because I don't know exactly what the technology is, and I don't want you to disclose it. But I'm just from the layman side of understanding blockchain and what it could actually do. Just wondering if that could be something coupled with what you're doing, so that it's everywhere, and it's because I was walking through with some folks that were doing some stuff with Chipotle. Remember when they had that Chipotle scare, and they were looking at
Yeah.
how blockchain, and I had no idea till you just told me right now that tens of thousands of people are dying from bad liquor or alcohol around the world. Like, who knew? I had no
Yeah,
idea.
absolutely. Yeah, so this is something that, back in 2020, I actually spoke at a few conferences, one that was based in Amsterdam and two that were based in the US, about smart packaging, because we were utilizing certain technologies like NFC and QR codes to tie those bottles and those products to tokens on the blockchain, right? So, for example, each one of our high-end tequila bottles, we want to actually tie that bottle to what everybody refers to now. It's so funny because we were talking about years ago what
NFT. You were doing this a long time ago, right?
yeah, so
So
it's
no,
like
okay, so yes, so yes, okay,
yeah, so it's like really
makes
cool to
sense.
kind of see what's happened. Like it's a bummer at the same time because our NFTs weren't like a money grab, if that makes sense. It was kind of just for people to realize, hey, like if it's tied to one, then we know it came from the distillery because you can look at
Authentic place. Yeah.
yeah, you can look at that token and see that okay, it actually comes from the Serpiente wallet, right? And you can see it was issued by that wallet. So even if somebody somehow makes the same bottle, the same label, and even attaches it and ties it to tokens, they can't cheat that part, right? That
Right.
part
They
that
cannot.
token, yeah. So for us, it was it just made sense. I didn't even have to like argue with myself about it, and just
It
yeah.
fell right in place.
Hmm.
So I got to ask you a question about the brand name, Serpiente.
Yeah,
I know that that's Latin for serpent, right?
yeah,
But what's your mindset behind? Because serpent, yeah. Just what's your mindset around
yeah.
serpent?
So it in Spanish means snake, right? And
Uh-huh.
so the thing about when I was starting to travel through Mexico, enjoying these like amazing high quality tequilas was that because it didn't have like that alcoholic burn or like that bad aftertaste, you
Uh-huh.
would you would drink it a little bit
Sneak up
faster,
on you.
right? You yeah. So and I kind of it just like kind of like made sense. You know how like a snake that like slithers through the grass, right?
Yes.
And by the
Yes.
time it bites you and you realize it, it's too late.
Listen,
So
I saw the logo. I saw the logo and I said, this looks like a dangerous snake. I don't know if I want to drink that alcohol. So,
yeah,
but it's all good. I so appreciate you and your brand. But I love it. I love it. I love it. So, so you have this thing called Bitcoin wine, right?
yeah.
Um, and so Bitcoin wine, what incentivized you to put the word Bitcoin on the front of this bottle?
Yeah. So for us, we of course like we believe that everything's going to move to the Bitcoin standard, and that's
Hmm.
kind of like the play that we have that we were referring to these wines as liquid gold and a new standard of wine because we kind of look at this being a wine that the consumers can participate in, right? So we want to have fun things to where it's a wine that you can through this wine you can win events access to events of like paint and sips, right?
Hmm.
Or even if you collect a certain amount, you can actually, possibly win a chance to design a label and be credited as like a designer, a design consultant or something like that, and actually receive money from being a part of the project, right? So it's not, we of course always want to make sure we're not, tiptoeing in anything in terms of like security. So we actually want people that if you ever make money from this, you actually put in work. So,
Right.
bringing people on board to actually help us design labels and, have people be able to have input to the brand in terms of like the community coming together to design a special edition collection, right? I always like tell people to be careful about throwing around the decentralized word about this is decentralized, just like it actually makes sense. But we kind of want to like utilize something like that to have multiple people from around the country come together to actually kind of like design an edition, right? And have input from all these different people where it wasn't just the brand making all the choices. So I think that's for us it's a new way of kind of putting out different varietals, right? Because you actually have people that are going to be purchasing the product or supporting the product, being a part of that design process.
Okay, okay. And what's the name of the tequila once you get that squared away? What's going to be the name
Yeah.
of the tequila?
So the name is Serpiente for the bold.
Oh, for
So
that.
just
Okay.
yeah. So the tequila
Okay.
short name, people obviously like will say Serpiente because it's shorter, but for me, I like for the bold part because if you even remember the bad tequila that you've had, right? Even if you've had bad experiences or the tequila you don't even like, even somebody says, "Hey, let's do a tequila shot," you kind of have that mindset like, you know what, let's do it, right? And it's kind of the way it makes you feel. It makes you kind of feel emboldened. And that's kind of the energy and spirit we're trying to encompass with this brand. People that like to take risks because this was a huge risk for me. I put everything on the line for this, and those are the kind of people we're trying to like bring into the brand and support, whether it's artists, musicians, entrepreneurs, like we're not going to have like a traditional marketing scheme where we're paying for like, like let's say like radio spots and TV spots.
Yeah.
A lot of the
Yeah.
money that we're going to have for marketing is going to be spent on our consumers and on supporting people that we look at as bold, right? So for us, we're trying to create something that's kind of different in the space, where it's if you're somebody that just likes good liquor and dope, really dope design packaged bottles, you can have that. But if you actually want something more, because for example, if you say, hey, I bought 10 bottles and I have these 10 tokens, and we say, hey, if you have a token, we're having an event in Atlanta and you have a token, it counts as a ticket to your entry, right? Mm-hmm. And you can now say, well, I'm only one person. Well, I can hit up 9 of my friends and, hey, look, I got these 9 other tickets if you guys want to come to this event, right? So kind of giving people those experiences with the product rather than, just kind of like stopping there at, just the basic product. So we kind of want to have something that's like, interactive and, in a way, innovative.
Okay. And I know you do wholesale for your vendors. If your wholesalers pay in Bitcoin, do they get a discount?
No. So for me, one of the things that was really important for me, because it's a high-end brand, is we're not looking to do like at least for the tequila, we're not looking to do wholesale discounts, because so it doesn't matter if the wholesaler, like at least this is kind of the plan, right? It doesn't, we don't, because if you offer the discount, that means then they discount it to the retailer, and then that means the retailer will discount it to the buyer. And yesterday's price is not today's price. And so we kind of want that price point to be respected, because we want people that, see value in this to be a part of this, right? We don't want to be something that's offered at discount. So we don't want to incentivize anybody in the 3-tier structure to discount the product, because even if somebody buys one bottle, if there's somebody who buys one bottle, but then they turn post notifications on for the IG and the Twitter, and then they stick to the bottle, and whenever we have a marketing blast, because you can actually interact with the bottle, right? We can actually send things out directly to the bottle for you to like tap the bottle and interact with it. So we can say, hey, first 10 people to tap their bottles get a free t-shirt, right? So even if you buy one bottle, if you're really interactive with the brand, you can probably get a bunch of free things that eclipse what you spend on the one bottle, right? And that's kind of the behavior we're trying to incentivize, because that makes sense for marketing spend for us, because if you already have to spend money on marketing, it kind of makes sense to spend money on the people buying the product, because the 80-20 rule, where 80% of your sales come from 20% of your customers anyway, and those 20% usually are the repeat loyal customers. So for us, it just kind of like makes sense to like go that route.
So one of these days you're gonna go to somebody's house and they're gonna have all these bottles lined up, and they're waiting for you to send something so they can figure out which one is working out. But no, I am super excited about your brand. For those of you that don't know, I guess I'll make the announcement today for those who didn't come to Wine Women in Crypto. We now have our official wine that we're going to be using every single month, which will be Bitcoin wines. And so I'm excited about that, and really looking to work with you all on some branding and some other ideas that I've had. And, I'm just excited about that. And so let the viewers know what you told me offline in reference to white labeling.
Yeah. So the thing that's really important for me is that just kind of increasing the access to creating people being able to create their own brands, right? Especially people that look like us. We're not, there aren't a lot of people that look like us in that space yet. And, that needs to change, because the diversity brings innovation, it brings different ideas, and, it actually allows the space to grow and flourish. So what we're doing is allowing people to actually come in, and instead of investing in a vineyard and all the production and the compliance, we'll actually help everybody with that. And pretty much all they'll be responsible for is kind of designing their branding, their label, their packaging, whatever the case may be. And then moving forward, we're kind of like getting their inventory. And depending on if they want to go with like a big order and go like try to land a wholesaler and go into retail, depending on the state, we can help them with that too. But, even if they just want to start off with, let's say like 500 bottles, and kind of create a direct to consumer route where they can build a website and kind of take online orders, we can help them with that as well. So for me, I don't want to just like kind of like gatekeep and like be able to create this thing and like kind of keep it to myself. Like, no, like let's all eat here, let's all win, let's all create, let's all grow, let's all kind of build together, right? Because for me, there's so much money in the world. There's too much, right? We know this. They print it out. That's the whole reason why we believe in Bitcoin. They literally print this out in a room. So for me to try to be stingy with something that's unlimited doesn't make sense, right? So if anything, I want to be as like bountiful with it as possible, so we can grab that scarce asset before that price kind of runs up on us, and it's harder to accumulate that, you know.
Right.
So for me, it's like kind of offering that route for people who want to like build their own online brand to say, hey, like reach out to us and we'll help make it happen. And then even like what you were mentioning about, do these wholesalers, do they play in the Bitcoin space yet? Like, no, but when you think about, ways to set it up, you can utilize something like OpenNode and accept USD, and then kind of set a percentage of saying, hey, I want 30% of this converted to Bitcoin and the rest kept in USD. So there's ways for us to like help you set that up as well, to where you can actually, just kind of have that automatic conversion.
Yes, and again, this is just credible. I think all incredible. Everything that you're doing is just great. I just would like for you to take a couple moments to say something to someone that's your age or younger that may be thinking about starting their own business and wanting to get into Bitcoin and wanting to accept Bitcoin. And I say it to folks all the time. Being in business is definitely a challenge, but it is definitely rewarding. And so, what would you tell somebody that's about your age? I'm assuming you're under 30.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go all the way down to 18, but I'm assuming you're under 30. So I'll say that. What would you say to someone that's under 30 that is looking at opening a business and really waiting for the very right time to get in business?
I never wanted to like rush anybody either, because everybody has their own time, right? Everybody kind of comes into their own. But for the people that like feel like they should do it, like just do it. Like even if you fail, you have so much life left. It's gonna be okay. Like that's again is when I realized, when I was looking at people like, for example, the creator of Zara, where he like literally became into his riches now in his like 60s, right? A lot of these people that you look as really successful, they didn't hit their stride to like their 50s and their 60s to where they're like rich and wealthy, right? This isn't something that you obtain at this age, but you have to start laying those bricks down now, so that by the time that you're there, it's a way easier path than trying to like kind of going into that entrepreneur endeavors, when you're in your 50s or 60s. Then it's a little bit harder, because just physically your body has already been taking a toll, right? So it's where you kind of want to have that kind of drive. I'm not saying that like your age determines your drive, but when you kind of get to a certain age when you kind of feel like you can't fail as much because you think your time is limited. So if you have more time, fail. You can pick yourself back up, right? It's okay to fail. I think so many people are just so scared to be embarrassed, and I'm just like, dude, everybody that's successful wasn't successful on their first try, or they didn't just do the first thing and it was amazing. Like there's so many people that you look at now, it's like, oh my God, they're amazing, that they failed a bunch, right? Even when I talk to people, especially my age and people that look like me, and then I look at like people in Silicon Valley where they have titles called serial entrepreneurs. It's mind blowing, where they brag about failing. Do you know this is a thing?
Well, I'm one of those. I'm one of those.
And I'm trying to tell people, I'm like, dude, it's okay to fail. Like some people actually like to see that you've tried something, and then you can learn from your failures. It's not something that like, and especially in our day and age, because of social media, everybody thinks like, man, if everybody finds out, it's gonna look bad. And this is, I'm like, dude, don't worry about that. Build for you for the long term, right?
Right.
And so for just looking at people my age, the worst that can happen is like you're back in the same position that you're at now, right?
Yeah.
Jobs aren't going anywhere. You can always fall back into a job. Just take that risk now and try to create something for yourself, or you can even do it while you're working. You don't have to like cold turkey quit your job. You can work on both at the same time. So then when you actually have that business running to a point where you say, okay, I can sustain it by itself, then you can kind of like pivot to that. I just like, I'm like a full send kind of person. I just like always, I don't know how to do things small. It's like one of my,
That's all right.
like, so for
A
me, when I
young
was like,
man after my own heart. I absolutely love it. That is awesome, and that's a great word that you just gave to them. And I hope that those that are listening are taking heed to what you're saying. Now you're half my age, less than half my age actually. So and it's just incredible to hear somebody in this day and age have such wisdom at such a young age. And so
thank you. I
I'm going to
appreciate that.
definitely be a support of your business and really, really looking forward to my Bitcoin wines and
Yeah,
my my Serpiente
yeah,
tequila. I can't wait to taste that as well. And so, um, well, yeah, I mean, did you have any other thing that you wanted to share? Any other projects that you're looking forward to? Anything.
yeah. So I mean, when we're talking about why people should accept Bitcoin for their business, when you're saying, there's a government that's just continuously putting out money. This isn't me telling you to put all your cash reserves for your business in Bitcoin. No, but the money that you were going to save and keep on your, some of the money on your balance sheet, you should put some of that in Bitcoin, right? Because it's going to be funny because we're going to be a new brand, but then in 10, 15 years, people are like, wait, why is your balance sheet so crazy?
Yeah,
Because we have Bitcoin on it, right? We
yeah,
don't have the same amount of sales, but we have, this other asset that we saved, and, for us, because of the continuous money print that they at this point really can't stop. It's kind of our hedge against that. Um, and so even, for example, like the tokens that we're using for the user experience and authentication, those are going to
mm,
be Bitcoin based NFTs as well, right?
okay,
And in this space where I'm not necessarily in the space of like how NFTs are now, where it's all like really speculative. I've
yeah,
kind of been in the space of utilizing it for product authentication, consumer
right,
interaction, and I love art, like actual like really amazing artists that love to like create what they love. So those are the kind of people we'll be supporting. So like the platform that we're working on, it's Bitcoin based as well, utilizing Liquid, right? And this is a side chain, so it's quote unquote green. It's eco friendly.
mhm,
It
mhm,
utilizes like less energy than a credit card swipe to actually issue out these digital assets. It's
mm,
just a few pennies to transact on there. So we're not running with high gas fees like certain other blockchains, and being able to be compatible with Lightning, right? So somebody can open up Cash App, buy Bitcoin on chain or utilizing Lightning, and actually purchase their NFT
right,
with that. So
right,
it's just, for us, it's a really exciting space because we're. Uh, I could release an NFT project last year, or the year before that, and just run to the races. But we're building for the long term here.
yeah,
I'm hoping to build things that I believe are gonna outlive me, right? And there's only really one chain I trust to do that on, right? There's a lot of people creating projects on that they're trying to build for the long term, but they might outlive these chains, and it's kind of scary for you to think about that you're going to dedicate all this time and work and effort to something that might not be here in 15, 20 years.
yeah.
And like I mentioned, the one thing I do believe will be here for sure, without a doubt, is Bitcoin and the Bitcoin blockchain.
Yes, sir. Well, I mean, that's a drop the mic moment. Absolutely. So again, I mean, wise beyond your years. So I just
Thank you.
really,
I appreciate it.
yes, and all that you're doing. And we are so looking forward to this year. This is going to be an incredible year for us all. And there's just so many, so many, so many opportunities. When I think of, just after I got off talking with you, I thought of so many ideas.
Yes.
And there's so many things that I need to share with you about people that you can actually reach out to and get some things going. So I'm looking forward to making those connections with you. And so that is it. So I'm not sure if we have any questions in the chat, but I would like to again thank you for coming on today. And if there are any questions, someone says, what is the lead time on the white label from the artwork to delivery? And I kind
Yeah.
of got my screenshot split here. I know the supply chain is fractured a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, so the beautiful thing is, like, for example, we had issues with the tequila that kind of pushes back. We were supposed to launch in the fall of last year, but because of some regulatory errors and issues, we were pushed to this year. But with the wine is domestic, it's already in the US. So from, let's say you've already created the artwork for your label, and then you provide us with your label, and then you pay for like that initial inventory. The turnaround time, if you're not doing like customized labels, if you want to do something a little bit more exotic or a little bit more quote unquote extra, right? We'll have to do like a different label design, but the turnaround time is usually around like 4 to 5 weeks, right? So the wine is kind of already ready, right? You kind of pick the wine you want, and then from there we can kind of place your labels on that inventory. And like I mentioned, if you're doing the DTC route, like the direct to consumer route, where you're doing like online orders, you pretty much never have to like touch anything, right? We kind of take care of the shipping stuff for you, where somebody places an order, like let's say you want to submit all your orders every 2-3 days. You kind of get those orders to us, and then those orders are shipped out directly to their door, right? They sign for it if they're 21 and up, and kind of, yeah, pretty. It's crazy when I think about it, because the tequila was worlds apart different from the wine. Like the tequila was so difficult. So, like when I look at that compared to the wine, I'm like, I can't believe it's like so much more like more efficient and like more simple, because it's a domestic product, right?
Right, right.
So yeah, the turnaround time is not that long at all from when you actually when we submit your labels and get them approved federally with the TTB, and from you paying like that initial inventory purchase.
That is awesome. That's awesome. That I wasn't expecting to hear that lead time. Um, what about a Dow for your brand?
Whenever I think about DAOs, I kind of tell people, I'm like, man, for me, I'm already kind of involved with the original DAO, which is Bitcoin. I look at Bitcoin as like the original DAO, because
The
if you
original
run a
Dow.
yeah, if you run a node, you're part of the DAO. You get to say something what happens, right? And when you think about majority, 90%, like I don't think there's anything else with that kind of consensus requirement when you think about votes, right? So we're not. That's the thing too. We don't want to like kind of like play into a lot of the hype things to
The hype.
just like
Yep.
run up the money. Even if I never release a single NFT or a single, like, from when I got the first kind of purchase, I realized, I was like, okay, I'm doing the right thing here. I can just sell the tequila and that's it, and like I'll be okay. And for me, money wasn't why I even came to this. I love to create things. So money's never going to be the driving point for me. And I've realized, like, a lot of people that that's the reason why they'll create so many things, and I don't want to kind of like taint something that I know is going to be amazing regardless. So
Mm.
and like I mentioned, that's the reason why I didn't, like, I've had like offers for percentages in the company. Like, before we've even sold a bottle, we've had like 6-figure offers to invest in the company. And for me, it was like, man, if I haven't sold anything yet and they see the value in that, okay, no.
No,
Like I
that's
mentioned,
right.
this is something
That's
for me.
right.
Yeah, for me, this is a legacy play, and I really want this to be my family. Like, for generations. That'll be awesome, because we're gonna do a bunch of like, even though I'm doing tequila, it's a spirits company. So tequila is one of the brands, right? So we're eventually gonna do a vodka, a gin, a whiskey, a rum, bourbon. Kind of like the full lineup, and it's all going to be high end luxury spirits. So for me, but this one's like kind of like like quote unquote my baby. It's special to
Okay.
me, right? So
Okay.
I don't know if I'm going to explore something like that for this. I just kind of want to like kind of build something that's real and tangible, and kind of have control of the direction that it goes in.
Yes. Well, thank you for that. And we want to thank you, McLean, for those questions and really invoking some conversation towards the end. But again, we appreciate you, brother. I'm proud of you. Cannot wait to work with you. If you all want to find out about his tequila brand, you can go to, it's actually on the screen. and just go to his. It looks like Facebook, and I got to move my screen around to see what this other one is. Facebook and oh, is that YouTube?
No,
So
that's Twitter,
oh,
Instagram, and
Twitter.
Facebook.
I see
Yeah,
it. I see it.
yeah.
All
So
right.
in the next coming months, we're gonna have like a complete like revamp in terms of our digital assets. So some of that stuff there is it's our it's kind of like our older photos, but now as we come into getting our green light for our new production permit, we're gonna be looking to like start putting out more photos and videos for you guys to enjoy. But for people interested in seeing what it looks like and what the brand looks like, those are the links there for you to check out.
All right, and make sure, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen, you follow him on IG as well as Twitter. Please follow me as well. Najah Roberts on all social media. No underscores, no dots, no any of that, because we got a lot of imposters. So we want to make sure
Yeah.
we're following the right people. So I am going to. Oh, Angela says, congratulations on the wine venture.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, so I'm excited. I'm telling you, I'm excited because I have my staff will tell you I have looked through a couple of wine companies to try to work with, and they just for whatever reason they didn't work out because here you came, right? And this is just awesome. So I
Yeah.
want to say thank you, and Crypto Blockchain Plug wants to say thank you, and we will see you at the top. And to each and every one of you that are listening and watching today, we so appreciate you. We cannot do this without you. You are the most important part of what we do, how we educate, and the products that we have for products and services is for our community. And so I love to see another entrepreneur that's in this for the community and really just trying to do something different and innovative. So again, I'm so ecstatic. So with that, ladies and gentlemen,
Same.
you all have an incredible evening. And thank you, Mayo, again, Mayo. You want Mayo,
Yeah.
Mayo,
No,
right?
I'm indifferent really though. Like for me,
You're
like
different.
I've
It
heard
doesn't
both.
matter.
I've heard both my whole life.
I like
It's just as long as
Mayo.
yeah, as long as you're saying it with respect and love, it's all good.
Oh yeah, yes. It's definitely respect and love. So that
Yeah.
being said, you enjoy the rest of your evening. Again,
You as
thank you
well.
for coming, and we will be talking to you soon. Peace and blessings.
Have a great night.